Hi, I'm Amy and welcome to my channel. This channel's all about merging spirituality and psychology so you can manifest your relationships. And this week is my Neville Goddard series. I personally love Neville and I've studied him avidly for years. And again, I just want to recommend the book. This has got all the important teachings that you'll need in here. And I definitely recommend giving that a read, because sometimes when you're seeing it online and you're seeing it on YouTube, sometimes it doesn't land. But when you read it, it sort of lands. You'll be able to resonate with it a lot more and understand why you were doing these techniques, which is really important. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss self-concept, because that is a huge part of what Neville teaches. And a lot of Neville's work is around your self-concept, which is manifesting. So what Neville teaches is that your concept of yourself is the lens through which you see the world. And that's what's been reflected back to you. So what is your self-concept? Now, Neville teaches it as your beliefs about yourself, but I think it goes deeper than this. I think your self-concept is an amalgamation of your beliefs, your thoughts, your opinions, your trauma, your feelings, your perceptions, all rolled into one. So when you are walking in the world, this is what is being reflected back to you, and you will see evidence of what it is that you believe. And that is the basis of what your self-concept is. When we're looking at this from a perspective of the whole world is yourself pushed out, this is what you are seeing. So let's use an example for this. I, as far as I could remember, had this underlying feeling of unworthiness. And this was reflected back at me in ways like divorce, in ways of breaking up with my partner numerous times, job opportunities I didn't go for. And I would have this feeling of unworthiness. And even when there was evidence, clear evidence in front of me that I was in fact worthy, it wouldn't land, because it wasn't who I was. I didn't recognise that as who I was being. I could find a ruck of evidence of how unworthy I was, but when somebody would tell me that that wasn't true, I just wouldn't believe them. So that was what my self-concept was. That was what I saw when I looked in the mirror. That is what my experience of the world was. So in order to change that, in order to shift that and start manifesting experiences that did reflect that I was in fact worthy, I had to first believe that. I had to first believe that I was worthy. And what that included was removing everything that meant that I wasn't. So there's a lot of teachings in the manifestation community that encourage robotic affirmations. Now, if you're anything like me, the affirmations didn't work. And the reason for that was I felt like I was lying to myself. When I told myself I was worthy, immediately a voice would come up that said, no, you're not. And here are the reasons, hundreds of reasons why you aren't. Here's what's happened to you that means that you're not. So I'd got this whole ruck of evidence that said that I wasn't worthy. So how on earth was telling myself that I was worthy 100 times a day going to change that? And it didn't. I still wasn't showing up as a worthy person. I was still acting from that place of unworthiness. So I really had to think about, okay, how do I embody worthiness? How do I actually show up every day as worthy? Because even though you're thinking that you are, with affirmations or whatever it is that you use, subliminals or other techniques, that isn't going to change unless you actually start to show up as a worthy person. And what this means is going through all the reasons and all the experiences that you had that you assigned and you made mean that you were unworthy, and releasing those. So you're seeing things from a different perspective, for example. So say you didn't get a job and it made you feel unworthy. You assign that meaning that, oh, that means I'm unworthy. But when you can look at it in a way where actually, you know, it was competitive, or the person that got it might be more qualified than me, and stop assigning it to being unworthy, you are going to start releasing that. But also you do need to actually show up as somebody that is worthy. And as Neville said, you have to wear the cloak. And that means your entire being has to become that. It isn't just the thoughts that you think, it's who you are being. So personally, I don't affirm things anymore. I don't. I decide what I want and I look at how can I show up as more of that every day. How do I wake up in the morning as a worthy person? How do I act as a worthy person? What would a worthy person think of this certain situation? Would they make it mean that they're not worthy? No, they wouldn't. They'd make it mean something else. They'd make it not personal. They certainly wouldn't assign meaning to the situation that is going to damage their own self-esteem. They wouldn't do that. So your self-concept is more than what you're thinking. It's who you are showing up as day to day. So how do you change that? You decide what you want to be. You start to think about, okay, how would a worthy person show up? How can you stop doing the things that come from unworthiness? How can you start to feel more worthy within? Is there any evidence that you have that make it mean that you are worthy? So when Neville's teaching you about self-concept, it is more than what you think. Neville doesn't say to affirm robotically time and time again. He says shift your state. He said you move into the state of worthiness. And this is what is misinterpreted in the manifestation community, because unless you are thinking, feeling and acting that way, or embodying that version of you, not a lot is going to change. And this frustrates a lot of people because they're robotically affirming, they're sleeping to affirmations and nothing's changing. And they're not showing up as the version of them that actually has this belief that they want. So what techniques can you use? You can use SATs, for example, and you can imagine a conversation with somebody. You can have inner conversations with yourself instead of just affirming, you know, have an inner conversation of yourself, you know, and say, I am worthy because of this, 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 and this, and start building evidence for that belief. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, but I will see you in the next video.